Very good. So here, don't forget that we have these kind of sentences according first to the function, yeah, the purpose of the message. No, remember that the declarative, imperative, interrogative, and exclamative, they have different functions. They have different purpose to be or to express, no, the message that we want to communicate. And the other side, we have the structure, how we are going to organize these sentences, no? From a basic simple structure, there are the simple sentences, then we have the compound sentence, then we have the complex sentences, and finally we have a combination of compound complex sentences, all right? So that was the topic of the last class. Remember this, no? This was the topic of the last class. Now, we are going to continue talking about this, all right? And I'm going to show you here the first slide. Now remember that this is module 4, syntax. We're analyzing the sentence structure. Now we are going to pass to the components of a sentence. What is the composition of a sentence? All right, so here we are going to analyze phrases, specifically the noun phrase, all right? So this is the topic of this session, the components of a sentence composed by phrases, and one of these phrases is the noun phrase, all right? So let's see here, what is it about? But we are going to analyze first the elements, as I told you, the components of a sentence, the elements in a sentence, morphological. Remember that when we talked about morphology, we have seen different parts of a speech, no? Parts of a speech, remember, are the different words that we have in a language, all right? Nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, articles, pronouns, demonstratives, and so on. So when we want to make up a sentence, when we want to construct a sentence, we are going to have two principal components. There are the nucleus, as you can see here. The nucleus, the principal components in a sentence, we have two, the noun syntagm and the verb syntagm. Oh, Martha, do you want to say something, Martha? Yes? Martha? No? Oh yeah, be careful please with the icon when you want to raise the hand. Raise your hand means that you want to participate and I can see it. Yeah, if you click on this icon, I can see, oh yeah, it means that you want to participate. Be careful with this, please. All right, so as we were talking about, we have two principal elements when we want to make a sentence. Remember, the noun syntax and the verb syntax. Yeah? And then we're going to give them another name. And the most important part in the noun syntax is the noun. So that's why we call them noun syntax. And the other, we have the verb syntax, and the most important part in the verb syntax, as the name says, is the verb. So here we have these two important elements in a sentence. Then we have complements. If you can see on the second line, the second arrow, we have complements which give more information, which are going to qualify the nouns and the verbs. For example, we have the adjectives. These words qualify nouns, remember, nouns, and the adverbs qualify the verbs. So you can see here that these are complements of these nucleus elements, all right? The adjectives and the adverbs. Then we have other elements when we make up a sentence, and they are called secondary elements. We have the determiners and invariable parts. In the determiners, we have the articles, pronouns, and demonstratives. And the invariable parts, we have the prepositions and conjunctions. So notice here that we have these two secondary elements in order to make up the sentences, to give a connection, no? Because you cannot make up a noun and a verb by themselves in a sentence, right? You have to use the article, or you have to use a pronoun, no? or you have to use some demonstratives, and you can add also adjectives, no? When we talk about the verbs again, no? So you have to use the adverbs to give more information about the action, no? Then you have some prepositions, some conjunctions in order to connect words, in order to connect clauses. No, remember, for example, when we talk about that sentences type, we talked about simple compound. No, in compound we have some conjunctions that we are going to use in order to connect two clauses, right? In the complex is the same, no? We're going to use some conjunctions in order to connect two clauses. We use the prepositions to connect words, no? For example, you say the teacher of English, of. You don't say teacher English. You don't say that, right? So you use an article, you use a preposition, so you connect. All right, you're connecting words and you are creating phrases, clauses, and so on, sentences. All right, so don't forget about these elements in a sentence. Remember, the most important, we have two: the noun syntax and the verb syntax. Syntax, remember, is similar to Spanish. Yeah? Syntax just with one letter, syntagma. No, we know in Spanish syntagma. Yeah, what is a syntax? Syntax is again a syntactic unit. Remember, the sentence is also a syntactic unit, but it's the highest. The syntagm is a unit, a syntactic unit, but it's going to be part of the highest syntactic unit, that is the sentence. We are going to compose a sentence by joining syntax or phrases or clauses, all right? So this is a syntax, so don't forget. And we have two principally, yeah? Because then we're going to talk about more. Two principally, that is the noun syntax and the verb syntax. Yeah? And the nucleus, so the most important part in a noun syntax is the noun, and the most important part in a verb syntax is the verb. So you can use here. And you have other elements, other components that we are going to use in order to give more information to qualify these nouns and verbs, and also to connect these words together, and also clauses or phrases of words. No? So don't forget about these elements in a sentence. Yeah? All right. Now, let's pass to the other one. Here we're going to talk about a term. I don't know if you have heard before this term, kernel sentence. Have you heard before this term, this phrase, kernel sentence? Have you heard before? No, nobody? No. Kernel sentence. Do you have any idea what is it about? No. Nobody, nobody? No. No. All right. What can you see on this slide? Can you tell me? What can you see? What can you see on the slide? Two sentences. Yeah, a kind of sentence, no? Sentence. If you notice, you have in the first line a sentence. James, a 5-year-old kid, loves ballads. All right? And in the second and the third, or 1 and 2, no? If you notice, we are separating. We are separating the bigger sentence, yeah? The sentence that is at the first part, we separate it in two. James loves music, and James is a kid. So what does it mean? That in the first sentence, we have two ideas. It's a sentence, yes. We don't have two sentences, yeah? But it means that we have two ideas. James loves music, or specifically, James loves ballad music. And also, here says that James is a kid because he's a 5-year-old kid, right? Yes? So we have two ideas. Notice here, two ideas. So we have in the sentence that you can see at the beginning, in the first part, you have two ideas. James loves music or ballad music, And the second idea is that James is a kid. So what is the relationship of these sentences and this part with the kernel sentences? Let's see. But remember this example, yeah? James, a 5-year-old kid, loves ballad music. We have a complete sentence, right? We have a complete sentence, just one sentence. But this sentence, notice, it's composed by two ideas, two simple ones. James loves music or ballad music, and the second, James is a kid. So notice here. What is a kernel sentence? A kernel sentence, it's a sentence reduced to a simplest form. Remember, yeah, it's a sentence reduced to a simplest form. So let's go back to the previous one. So here you can see that you have a sentence in the first part, but then you have other two sentences. So what is the kernel sentence? The sentence which is in black, red, or green? Remember the concept again. A kernel sentence, it's a sentence reduced to its simplest, the simplest form. So in these three sentences, because we have three sentences here, two are connected to the first one, right? Which of these sentences is, or which of these sentences are kernel sentences?
1 and 2.
Excellent. 1 and 2. Notice the basic structure in order to make sentences is called a kernel sentence. This is the basic structure to make sentences, all right? Is the simplest form of a sentence. So let's see the other one again. It is simple and declarative sentence, not interrogative, not imperative, not a question. It's just declarative sentence. That's why here says James loves music. James is a kid or a boy, a child. And notice the third point, it conveys only one idea. It carries, conveys, similar to say carry, it conveys or carries just one idea. Again, in the first sentence, you have two ideas connected. James, a 5-year-old kid, notice that you use commas, no, we call this a positive, yeah? James, a 5-year-old kid, loves ballad music. So which are the simple forms of this sentence? Oh, James loves music and James is a kid. So here we have two kernel sentences, all right? The simple form. It conveys just one idea, only one idea. Remember this. Now, another characteristic of a kernel sentence is that it's in the active voice. All right? This sentence, kernel sentence, is always in the active voice. If you make a sentence in the passive voice, it's not a kernel sentence. We call this kind of sentence transformational sentence because we make some changes, all right? For example, if you say, no, John reads a book, all right? This is active voice, right? You have a subject who does something and you have an object which receives something. So subject, object. And we have a verb. This is a kernel sentence. James reads a book. Yeah, remember, James reads a book. This is active voice, declarative. But sometimes we could change this sentence and we can make it into a passive one. And we say, a book is read by James. Notice, I'm not changing the meaning of the sentence. I'm changing the structure. Again, I'm going to repeat it again. James reads a book. All right? This is a kernel sentence. Basic structure, simple one, the simplest form, declarative. It's an active voice. But as I told you, we can change these sentences into a passive one. And we say, a book, notice, a book is read by James. What are you doing here? You are transforming. You are rearranging, right? You're transforming a simple sentence in active into a passive one. You don't change the meaning is the same. You change the structure, the order, the pattern of this sentence. And if you change this, it's not a kernel sentence. The kernel sentence...
Ya le escucho, ya le escucho.
Sorry?
Ya le escucho, ahora sí le escucho.
Okay,
ya,
okay.
Ronald, muchas gracias, hermano. Gracias. Yo te llamo cualquier cosa.
Okay, please turn off your microphones. Turn off your microphones. Don't forget to turn off your microphones, please. Yeah. So here, don't forget it. Yeah. When you change the basic structure, the simple structure of a sentence, you are not making a kernel sentence. You're making a transformational sentence. Don't forget about this term. So remember, the kernel sentence is always in the active voice. It means that the subject, the doer of the action, comes first in the sentence structure. So as I told you, James is the subject, is the doer of the action. So it's at the beginning of the sentence, all right? You start a sentence with a subject. Okay, the doer of the action, remember, is the doer of the action. Because if you change into passive, you have also a subject, but now the subject is the book. But the book is not the doer of the action. But it's in this passive voice, the object becomes a subject, but it's not the doer of the action. So in a kernel sentence, remember, the doer of the action must be at the beginning of a sentence. All right? You can change that. Yeah? You can't. You cannot change that. All right? So don't forget about it. Yeah? Don't forget about the kernel sentence. Remember, kernel sentence is the simplest form of a sentence. The most basic, you want to say something like this, is the most basic structure in order to make up a sentence. All right? You have a subject and you have a verb and sometimes a complement. It's the most simple one, the simplest one. All right? So don't forget it. It just have one idea. It's always in the active voice. And it's declarative sentence. No. You cannot make here a kernel sentence if you change it into questions or exclamatory or imperative. No, because you don't follow this pattern, these rules, no? It's simple one idea, active voice, the subject is at the beginning of the sentence. The doer of the action is always at the beginning of the sentence. You start a sentence with the doer of the action. Yeah? So don't forget about the kernel sentence. Let's see here more examples in order to get it clear, to make it clear. Here you have this sentence. Notice when I say simple, simplest, notice because we can make simple sentences, but it's not a kernel sentence. Notice here, this sentence is simple. The hanging bridge is scary. It's a simple sentence, right? It's not so complicated, it's not compound, it's not complex, it's not compound complex. It's a simple sentence, but it's not a kernel sentence because it has two ideas. What are the two ideas? The bridge is hanging and the bridge is scary. In order to not to write these two sentences, you use the adjective, not the gerund, in this case hanging. You use this gerund as an adjective. The hanging bridge is scary. This is a simple sentence, right? According to the structure, no, you have simple, compound, complex, and compound complex. So what is this? This is a simple sentence, but it's not a kernel sentence because it has two ideas. Remember, a kernel sentence just only have one idea. So this sentence has two ideas. The bridge is hanging and the bridge is scary. So you have two ideas, two kernel sentences inside this simple sentence. So that's why here says the simplest, not just the simple. Notice again the characteristics. Yeah, the simplest form, superlative. So it's the basic, the most basic structure of a sentence. All right, this is the kernel sentence. Another one, notice again, another simple sentence, but it's not a kernel sentence. Good games are short. You have two ideas again. The games are good, the games are short. Notice, two ideas, two kernel sentences. But in the first one, it's a simple sentence, yes, because you have a subject, the verb are, and then an adjective. Oh, please be careful with the screen. Who is writing on the screen? I'm going to make changes. Yeah, please be careful with the screen. I'm going to change that. Just a minute. Por favor, tengan cuidado con los controles. Alguien está pintando la pizarrita, de repente están con sus peques. Tengan mucho cuidado, por favor. A ver, un ratito, me permiten, para poder sacar aquí la... Just a minute, please. Yeah, okay. Can you see it now? Yes, everybody? Please tell me. Please be careful with the eye.
Teacher,
Yes.
I have a problem in the virtual classroom. I can download the PDF.
The PDF? Which one? From this class?
See, for this class.
Oh. Oh, yes, you sure? Because the PDF is on the platform. I downloaded in a few minutes and it was okay. Please check it again. Yeah? Then you can tell me and I'm going to talk to the administrator in order to rearrange that. Yeah?
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
All right. So don't forget, these are the kernel sentences. Another one, notice to finish with a kernel sentence. I want to go. Notice, it's a simple sentence. I want to go, but it's not a kernel sentence. Why? Because we have two ideas. I want and I go. So we have I want is the kernel, I go is a kernel. Two ideas. Notice in order to get it clear, yeah? Because sometimes we confuse. Yeah, kernel sentence is a simple sentence. Not always. It's the simplest one. The most basic structure. It's not just a simple sentence. Because if you notice, I want to go is a simple sentence. This sentence also doesn't have an object. No object. Yeah, teacher, this is a kernel sentence because it's simple. I want to go. Yeah, it's a simple sentence, but it's not a kernel sentence because this simple sentence has two ideas, two verbs. I want and I go. These are the kernel sentences. All right? Okay? So, do you have clear? Yes? What is a kernel sentence?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
teacher.
All right, so don't forget about the kernel sentence. It's the most basic structure to make sentences. Don't forget about it. Now, let's continue with the other part. Let's pass to the other point. A kernel sentence, it's composed by two elements. A noun phrase principally by two elements, noun phrase and a verb phrase. And sometimes we can use also interjection. Do you know what is an interjection? Can you remember what is an interjection? What is an interjection? Can you tell me? What is an interjection? No, nobody?
Prepositions.
The little phrases, for example, oh, they.
Uh-huh. That's it. Some words, some phrases that we use to show our emotions, our feelings. No, for example, you can say, ouch, or it's getting cold. So this, or maybe when you taste something delicious, say, what a delicious meal.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
It's an interjection. All right. So you can use also here in a kernel sentences some interjections in order to add to a noun phrase and a verb phrase. But remember, the most important components of a kernel sentence, it's a noun phrase and a verb phrase. All right? And now we are going to see what are these. The noun phrase, remember, the noun phrase functions as the subject of the kernel sentence, and the verb phrase functions as its predicate. So here you have one example. You have a sentence, the man writes a letter. The man is the noun phrase, and it's the subject of the sentence. Writes a letter is the verb phrase, and it's the predicate of the sentence, all right? So here we have a kernel sentence composed by a noun phrase plus a verb phrase. Yeah, don't forget, this is the principal components of a sentence and obviously of a kernel sentence, a basic one, the simplest. Remember, the simplest form of a sentence is the kernel sentence, and it's composed by the noun phrase and a verb phrase. Noun phrase, the subject, the verb phrase is the predicate. All right? Now here we're going to remember something. The last class, when we talk about the types of sentences, and we analyze the compound and compound complex sentences, we talked about a term that is a clause. And now we are talking about another term that is a phrase. Sometimes we get confused with these terms, clause, phrase, because with clauses, you make sentences, all right? With clauses, for example, I gave you this example last class. In conditional sentence, we're going to take out this example. Conditional sentences are composed by two clauses, the condition clause and the result clause. Teacher, but you tell us that with phrases, we compose a sentence. So what is that? What's the difference? Clauses, phrases? So let's check it, and you have to remember. Yeah? A clause, what is a clause? A clause is also part of the sentence that contains a verb. Yeah? A typical clause consists of a subject and a predicate. Related typically a verb phrase, a verb with any objects and other modifiers. Another question, teacher, but here says that in the concept says that the clause consists of a subject and a predicate. So it's a sentence. Yes or no? Or no? Am I wrong? what is the difference so between a clause and a sentence? Because we have seen that a composition of a kernel sentence is the subject and the predicate, no? Subject is the noun phrase and the predicate is the verb phrase. And here says also that a clause is composed by a subject and a predicate. So what's the difference? What's the difference between a clause and a sentence? You told me at the beginning of the class. What is the meaning or what is the definition of a sentence?
It's the higher
Structure.
unit of linguistic.
Is the
has meaning.
highest, Ellen, is the highest unit
Of linguistic
yes,
that
in a
has
language.
meaning.
With a complete meaning or complete sense. Remember that. With a complete meaning or complete sense. That's the difference with a clause. A clause could have the structure of a sentence, but it doesn't have a complete meaning. Some sentences are composed by just one clause. No, for example, the simple sentence are composed just using one clause. But when we make compound or complex or compound complex, these clauses need the other part. They cannot be alone. That's happened with the conditional sentences, no? If I study hard, notice, what happened if I finish the sentence here? If I study hard, is it complete? Does it have complete sense?
No.
No, right? So it is not a sentence. It is a clause. If you notice, I'm going to repeat again. If I study hard, it has the structure of a sentence. You have the subject I, you have the verb study, and then you have a complement that is hard. You are qualifying the verb. So it's similar to a sentence. The structure is similar to a sentence, but what's the difference? The sense, the meaning. It is not complete. You need more. You need other part to have a complete meaning, a complete sense. So that's why we call this a clause. Remember, yeah? A clause. Yeah? It's a structure that is part of a sentence, yeah, that contains a verb. So it has a similarity with a sentence in the structure, but not in the meaning, not in the sense. For example, here you have, no, and as I told you, the simple sentences could have just one clause. He must stop laughing, they have done the job, Tom likes meat, we like the music that you brought. So here you have, in the last, for example, in the last sentence, we like the music that you brought, we have two clauses. We like the music, but what kind of music? It's not complete. That you brought. Oh, yes, okay, I got it. So you have a complete sense. Notice that we have two clauses here. And what about the phrase? What about the phrase? The phrase, notice, the phrase is a small group of words that adds meaning to a sentence. A small group of words. Remember, a small group of words that adds meaning to a sentence. A phrase is not a sentence because it's not a complete idea with a subject, verb, and a predicate. So don't forget, in simple words, a phrase is a small group of words that adds, notice here, adds meaning to a sentence. Here doesn't say that it has a complete meaning, no. Adds, gives meaning to a sentence, all right? The examples, the information aids. Here you have an example on a noun phrase. Earnest in her desire. This is an example of an adjective phrase. Much or too quickly or to see clearly. This is an adverb phrase. After a very long walk, It is a prepositional phrase. Yeah? So don't forget about that term of phrase. Yeah? I'm making this in order to get it clear. Yeah? What is a phrase? What is a clause? Because maybe we're going on, and maybe you couldn't understand so well the terms. Yeah? Remember, sentence is a highest syntactic unit in a language with complete sense, with a complete meaning. Clause is another syntactic unit that is part of a sentence, but it doesn't have a complete sense. It doesn't have a complete meaning. And a phrase, a small group of words which add meaning to a sentence. Don't forget about these three terms: sentence, clause, phrase. All right? Now, let's pass to the other. Here we're going to see in a general term, because we are going to analyze more in the next part. In a noun phrase, one or more words work together to give more information about the noun. Yeah, remember, a noun phrase, you could use one word, or two, or three, or four, or five together, 5 words together, to give more information about a noun. For example, here you have, all my dear children. All of this is a noun phrase, all right? The information age, another noun phrase. 17 hungry lions in the rocks. Notice, this is a noun phrase, all right? We don't have here a verb, we don't have an object, they are phrases. What kind of phrases? Noun phrases. Why do we call them noun phrases? Because the most important part of this phrase is the noun. All my dear children, oh yeah, children is the nucleus. And then you have other words to give more information, as here says, no? You use dear, my, all, you're giving more information about children. The information age, what is the nucleus? Here you have a compound noun, right? Information age. This is a compound noun, then you have an article. You are defining, notice you are defining the noun. 17 hungry lions in the rocks. Notice here, this is a long noun phrase. 17 hungry lions in the rocks. We're fighting, or we're eating. Notice, we're eating is the verb phrase, but this long structure is the noun phrase. 17 hungry lions in the rock. What is the nucleus of this phrase? Lions.
Lions.
The noun. Notice here, what is the noun phrase? Yeah? One or more words work together to give more information about a noun. All right? Now, let's continue with the other one. A verb phrase. What is a verb phrase? One or more words work together to give more meaning to a verb. You have woken up everyone in the neighborhood, walking on the ice, to make lemonade. So we have different structure of verbs, no? Here you have the present perfect, you use the past participle, the auxiliary, or maybe the ing, no, the gerund, or maybe the infinitive form, no, to make, no. For example, some books and any other material, you can find that the verb phrase is divided in infinitive phrase, gerund phrase, so you can see this. But here we're going to take it in general as a verb phrase, all right? Because the main component of these phrases are the verb. All right? Yeah. Indeed, it says, no, 17 hungry, yeah, lions on the rocks. Oh, yeah, here, the preposition. Oh, yes, yeah, you're right. Okay. Okay, so here we're going to continue with the other phrase. In an adjective phrase, one or more words work together to give more information about an adjective. So very sweet, very happy with his work. So here you have, as a nucleus of this phrase, is the adjective, no? The adjective. And you have any other words to give more information about the adjective, no? The other one is the adverb phrase. One or more words work together to give more information about another. especially, softly, formerly of the city of Peru. Here doesn't even say Peru. Too quickly. So here you have these adverb phrases. Don't forget, these are adverb phrases. All right? So here you have in general, because we're going to analyze each one more in detail later. And the other one is a prepositional phrase. One or more words work together to give information about time, location, possession, or condition. The preposition always appears at the front of the phrase. After a very long walk, behind the old building, for all the hungry children. So here you start these phrases using a preposition. Behind, for, after, on, in, no? So here you use the prepositions. And then you have other words which complement this preposition, all right? So notice here the different types of phrases. But today we're going to focus on one of them, the noun phrase, all right? We are going to focus on the noun phrase. Next classes, we are going to talk about the verb phrase, the adverb phrase, the prepositional phrase, and so on. Today, we're going to focus now on the noun phrase. When we want to make noun phrases, we're going to use these elements in order to make these ones. We use proper nouns, personal pronouns, indefinite pronouns, determiners, plus nouns. So we are going to use these elements in order to make noun phrases. Let's talk about the first one. Proper nouns. What are the proper nouns? The names of particular people, places, or things. They are usually unique, all right? One of a kind, unique. They are written with initial capital letters. So these are the proper nouns. Remember, names of particular people, places, or things. They are usually unique. They are written with initial capital letters. We use capital letters. The main classes of proper nouns are personal names, no? Peter, Mario, Mr. Torres. We also have calendar items such as festivals, months, days, no? Festivals, Christmas, New Year, Independence Day, months, June, July, April, days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on. So these are the main classes of proper nouns. Also, we have geographical names, continents, America, Africa, countries, Peru, Bolivia, cities and towns, California, Miami, Toronto, lakes, Titicaca Lake, Silver Lake, mountains, Mount Everest, Vesuvius, and so on, all right? And the other is the name plus a common noun. We use also common nouns. Madison Avenue, Kennedy Airport, so we could use here also the common nouns. So this is the first component of a noun phrase, proper nouns, the proper nouns. And we have here a diagram. This is a tree diagram. So we are going to divide the components of the phrase. For example, here we have two sentences. In the first sentence, we have Peter goes to school. So it is composed by a noun phrase and a verb phrase. Then we have a proper noun, no? That is Peter. This is the component of a noun phrase. And the second one, the same, no? We have a noun phrase plus a verb phrase. The verb phrase is a big city. And the proper noun, that is California, all right? So here you have the tree diagram, and we are going to take into account the noun phrases, no? That is composed by the proper nouns. Peter is a proper noun, and it's also the noun phrase, right? The same happened here. California, it's a proper noun, and it's a noun phrase, all right? Personal pronouns, we have here I am in class, double S here. We study English. So we have again the noun phrase. And notice here the noun phrases. I and we. This is the noun phrase. And we are using personal pronouns. Personal pronouns. Then we have another one, indefinite pronouns. What are the indefinite pronouns? We are going to use some, any, no, every, and we are going to refer to people, things, and places. For example, we have someone, somebody, anyone, anybody, no one, nobody, everyone, everybody. So we use these indefinite pronouns related to people. Related to things, we have something, anything, nothing, everything. And when we talk about places, somewhere, anywhere, nowhere, everywhere. Remember, we call these pronouns indefinite because we are not defining who or which or where we're talking about. That's why we call them indefinite pronouns. Someone, but who? Anyone, who? Nobody, but we don't know exactly who we are talking about. Doesn't happen with a thing, something, but what? Or somewhere, but where? So that's why we call them indefinite pronouns. We are not defining what, who, or where we are talking about. Now, and also here you have the three. No, again, we have the MP, we have this everyone, indefinite pronoun, and this is the noun phrase, and the VP or verb phrase, agreed. All right? Let's pass to the other one. The other component of noun phrase, it's a determiner plus a noun. What are the determiners? They are a kind of noun modifier. They are going to modify the noun. They precede and are normally followed by nouns. They refer to a relatively limited set of well-established words that can be said to mark. Now remember, we are going to mark nouns. Their function is to express reference. For example, they clarify what a noun is referring to. Notice the example below. That box. We use the determiner that. The listener knows which box is being referred to, not any box, that box, all right? So you are defining, you are determining about the noun, okay? So this is the function of determiners. Yeah? They express reference, all right? And we are going to see which determiners we have. Determiners, remember, are used in front of nouns to indicate whether you are referring to something specific or something of a particular type. And we have here a list, this is a list of the modifier determiners. Possessives, mine, our, your, his, her, its, their. Ordinals, first, second, third, next, last. Distributives, each, every, neither, either. Quantifiers, much, some, no, any, many, enough, several, little, all, lot of, plenty of, another. So these are the quantifiers. They refer to quantity. Articles, we know the definite and non-definite articles, no? And numerals, 1, 2, 3, 10, 50, 100, 1,000. And predeterminers, sometimes called pre-articles, yeah? All of, what, such, rather, quiet, twice, double, both. So notice here the different determiners that we could use in order to modify. Remember, they are modifiers of the noun. We are going to give more detailed information. You want to say that, no? You give more detailed information about the noun. For example, you say children like chocolate, but you're talking about in general, right? But what happens if you say all children like chocolate? So you're giving more information about the noun. All right? Oh, my children like chocolate. Oh, you're classifying, you're determining not all children, just my children, right? So notice you're modifying the noun. You modify the noun using determiners, and you have a lot here: possessives, ordinals, quantifiers, articles, predeterminers, numeral, distributives. You have a lot, all right? And we are going to continue with one of them, the articles. We are going to talk about the articles. Definite article, the. The is used to give information about particular or known nouns. We use the in case of count and non-count nouns. Now we're going to use this with count and non-count nouns. All right? So here the can either be used with non-count nouns or the article can be omitted entirely. Now remember that in English we could have this. We don't use the article the. And sometimes we made mistakes with the use of the article the. Remember, you use the with non-count nouns, or maybe the article can be omitted entirely. For example, she liked to sail over the water. Here some specific body of water is being talked about. Or you could say she liked to sail over water. Notice no article. Here, no particular water is being talked about. It can refer to any water. So notice the difference. When you use the, you're determining, you're specifying, you're talking about a particular quantity or body of water. But if you don't use the, you're talking about any water, no? Any body of water. So notice the difference. Sometimes we get confused because in our language, in Spanish, we use the article, no, for all the cases. But don't forget that in English, sometimes we're going to omit the article the. All right? Now, so here, use of the in case of geography, for example. Do not use the before. Remember, names of most countries and territories. With countries, we don't use the. Names of cities, towns, or states. Names of streets. Names of lakes and bays. Names of mountains. Names of continents and names of islands. Yeah? We are not going to use the. We have some countries with the, but there are a few, yeah? The Netherlands or the Dominican Republic or the Philippines or the United States. But most of the names of countries and territories, we don't use the. Yeah? Remember this, okay? When do we use the? Before names of rivers, oceans, seas, points on the globe, geographical areas, and also we are going to talk about desert, no? Here, these other geographical features, yeah? Oh, Indira says, surfea sobre el agua y el otro surfea sobre las aguas. Not exactly, Indira. In Spanish, remember, in Spanish, we are going to use the all the time. En nuestro idioma nosotros utilizamos el artículo definido en todo caso. En el inglés no. En el inglés yo voy a utilizar el da cuando estoy determinando a qué sujeto, a qué sustantivo estoy hablando yo. Yo, por ejemplo, les doy uno, ¿no? Que generalmente doy a mis alumnos. Yo digo, a ver, los elefantes comen maní. ¿Cómo sería la oración en inglés? A ver. Los elefantes comen maní.
The elephants.
The elephants?
No, elephants.
Ajá. Elephants eat peanuts. Why?
Because we don't know exactly how elephants
Yes. You are not specifying, you are not determining, that's why the name. Here, this is a definite article. You are not defining, you are not determining, you are not specifying which kind of elephants. You are talking about the elephants in general. So that's why you don't write the. You just say elephants eat peanuts. But what happens if I want to say los elefantes de Asia son más grandes?
In that case, yeah, we have to use the.
The
Excellent.
elephant.
Excellent. Because you are determining which elephants are from Asia. So notice the difference. Okay, Indira? Yeah, notice the difference. The is used when you determine, you define, that's what an A, definite. You define, you specify who or which you're talking about, what you're talking about, all right? But you don't use the when you talked about in general, all right? So don't forget about it, okay? So don't forget about this, here the definite article and also the geographical names, yeah, when we are not going to use the and when we use the. All right, now let's pass to the other one, non-definite article, a, an. A or an is used to talk about things which are not particular. Usually these are things that haven't been mentioned before or that the listener is unfamiliar with. Remember that we are going to use a before a word beginning with a consonant sound and an before a word beginning with a vowel sound. Yeah? Remember this, all right? For example, here you have on the exception part, no, a one-eyed dog. And sometimes we confuse, but teacher, one starts with the letter O. It's a vowel. A one. It's not correct to say and one. Remember that we're talking about sounds. One, the word one, starts with the consonant W. W. That's why we use the article a and not the article an. The other example, a European. A European. Oh, teacher, you start with the letter E. No. The rule here applies, yeah, to the pronunciation. You start this word with a consonant. Oh, please, your microphones. Don't forget to turn off your microphones. European. You start with the consonant yeah. Yeah. You. You don't say European, no. European, yeah, yeah. European. That's why we use a user, a united front, a university, a unicycle. And notice, don't follow the spelling. You must follow the pronunciation. Yeah? And the other one, and. The exception again, an hour. Oh, teacher, the word starts with a consonant letter. But no, we are not going to apply the rule according to the spelling. We are going to apply the rule according to the pronunciation. An hour, hour. The letter H is a silent letter, so it's not pronounced. An hour, an honest man, a hair, an honorable idea. So here you have this. Don't forget about this. And when we use and, is because of the pronunciation. Is the next word starts with a consonant sound, and is the next word starts with a vowel sound. All right? And remember the use. Yeah? We're going to use a or an when we talk about things which are not particular. Yeah? Which are not particular, right? All the things that haven't been mentioned before, or you don't know about it. You're not familiar with this, all right? So here, don't forget the uses. When mentioning something for the first time, I went for a movie. When talking about something which belonged to a set of the same thing, this is a pen. When talking about someone who belongs to a certain group, she's an engineer. When talking about a certain kind of a thing, I've made a great movie, or we wanted to say that someone is a certain kind of person. She's a shy girl. No, so here you have the uses of a or an. Yeah, don't forget about this. Is the difference with da. Da is defining, definite. A or an, non-definite. You're not specifying, you're not determining who or which or what you're talking about. Yeah? And notice here the diagram, all right? So we have again these diagrams, please. Don't forget how to make these diagrams, the 3 diagrams. So let's analyze the first sentence. The band played on Sunday. So the band is the noun phrase, all right? And this noun phrase is composed by a determiner plus a noun. The determiner is the article, and we have a countable noun. Yeah, CN is a countable noun, and it's a defining article or definite article plus a countable noun. So this is the composition of the noun phrase. Notice, this is the composition. Noun phrase is composed by a determiner plus a noun. The determiner is the article. What kind of article? Definite article. The other one, the other sentence, a boy is playing. So again, the noun phrase is composed by a determiner plus a noun. This determiner is again an article. And now this is a non-definite article, a, plus a noun, no, a countable noun in a singular form. Remember, a or an is used with singular nouns, all right? So notice here the tree diagram. Now, don't forget about this tree diagram. Again, another one. We have NP, the noun phrase, the determiner plus a noun. The determiner is the article, non-definite, but now is null. Null means that you don't write it. Yeah? You don't write the article. This is the example that I gave you, no? Elephants, plus the plural, elephants were eating peanuts. Notice no article. So when you use no article, this is null article. Yeah? Null article. It's a non-defining. Yeah? It's a non-defining article, and it's a determiner. Yeah? So you have here determiner plus noun. All right? The determiner plus noun. This is the structure that we're analyzing in order to talk about the noun phrase. Yeah? This is the noun phrase. Notice that we are not analyzing the verb phrase. Then we are going to analyze the verb phrase. Now here we are just analyzing the noun phrase. And what is the structure? Determiner plus a noun. All right? You use articles, non-definite article, definite article, or null article. We don't use the article, okay? Now, let's pass to the other point. Pre-articles. What are the pre-articles? Pre-articles are the words which are used before the articles. They added to the noun phrase a meaning of number or quantity. This can be a lot of, a few of, most of, many of, none of, half of. Besides, all cardinal numbers can be pre-articles if they use the word two of. No? You can use also the cardinal numbers. No? 3 of us, 2 of us. Notice here the structure. No? So we are going to use it as a pre-articles. Let's see here the tree. Vayamos de nuevo al arbolito. Noun phrase, again, here we have several the boys. This is the first one. Several the boys. So we have a determiner. We use a pre-article. Then the article. The pre-article is several of. The article is the. Then we have the noun, the countable noun that is boy. And then we have a plural form, no? The S. Several of the boys. What about the other one? We don't have of, we just have several. Several, no article, and then you have the boy in a plural form. So you have several boys, several boys. So you have the pre-article several. You have an article, but it's not written. Remember, it's not written. It doesn't mean that you don't have an article, yeah? It doesn't mean that you don't have an article. You have an article, but it's not written. It's a null article. So you have the determiner pre-article plus the article, pre-article, several, the article, non-defining, no, because it's not written, and then you have the noun, that is boy, and you add the plural form s, no? Boys, several boys. So notice here the structure, the tree diagram of these two noun phrases. Notice we're just analyzing the noun phrase, no more. We don't have a verb, we don't have an object here, just the noun phrase, the composition of a noun phrase, using determiners and using nouns. We're adding determiners to the nouns. Let's pass to the other one, the demonstratives. What are the demonstratives? There are two kinds of demonstration. Here in syntactic terms, we call them D1 and D2. So you have the defining plus D1, no? The definite plus D1, and the definite plus D2. And you know these words, no? This, these, that, those. This when the noun is singular. These when the noun is plural. That, again, when the noun is singular, and those when the noun is plural. So what is the difference between D1 and D2?
Near and far.
Yes, that's it. The point of reference, no? The point of reference. As your partner says, the first ones is referring to something, no, that is near us, near, and the other two are referring to something or someone which is far from us. All right? So this is the difference. The point of reference, no, the place of reference. Near and far. Here you have some of them in singular and the other ones are plural. All right? Now, let's see here another tree. Notice here this tree. Noun phrase, we have a determiner, we have an article plus a demonstrative, we have this article as a definite. Remember that we call this as a definite because we're determining, we're specifying who or which or what we're talking about. So we have this boy, you're talking about this boy, no any other boy, right? That's why we call this definite. We are using the definite, but we are using also the demonstration. This is a demonstration. Definite D1, so this. And then you have the noun, countable, and the word is boy, no? So don't forget about how we are going to decompose, how we are going to decompose this demonstrative. You know, just demonstrative D1, no. We have an article. This is an article, but it's not written. We cannot say, oh, teacher, but what is the article? What is that? What is that? What is that? No. Here we're not going to write the article, but we are going to use it because we're determining. So this is a definite, all right? Definite plus demonstration. This is the composition of this syntactic unit, all right? Definite plus demonstration. In this case, it's demonstration 1. So you're talking about something which is near, no? Who is near? This boy. It means that the boy is close to me, all right? Is close to me. So that's why we call here definite plus D1. Remember, definite plus D1. This boy. What about the other one? NP, again, another noun phrase. And we have here another noun phrase. Again, we have a determiner, the article plus a demonstrative. The article is definite. And the demonstrative again is D1, but in plural, right? These, these. And we have a countable noun plus the plural form. Notice how we decompose the noun. Boy plus S, this is countable, C, plus a plural form, no? Boys, these boys. Notice how we're going to make the trees. Be careful how we are going to make the trees. In the demonstrative, we have an article. That is a definite article. It's not written, but you use it, all right? You use the article, okay? Definite plus D1. These boys, all right? Now let's pass to the other ones. D2, demonstration 2. So again, here we have two noun phrases. The first noun phrase, again, is composed by a determiner plus a noun, yeah? The determiner. Here we have the article again, definite. I'm going to repeat again. Why do we say that it's definite? If it is, we don't have the da, no? Because the definite article is da. So we don't use da here. Why do we say that it's definite article? Because we're defining, we're specifying who, in this case, who we are talking about. We are talking about that boy, not any other boy, all right? Just about that boy. So you're determining, all right? You're determining who you're talking about. So that's why we say that this is a definite article, but we add the demonstration aspect. In this case, is D2, because we're talking about someone who is far from us, all right? We're talking about someone who is far from us. So we say article plus demonstrative. The article is definite, and the demonstrative is D2, all right? Definite plus D2, and you have then a countable noun that is boy, that boy, all right? Let's pass to the other, those boys, those boys. So we have again the noun phrase that we use the determiner plus a noun again. Then we have the article plus a demonstrative, again the definite article plus a demonstration number 2, D2. Those, because we're talking about again someone or people who are far from us, no? Boys who are far from us, no? Those boys, all right? Definite plus D2. So here then we have the countable noun, that is boy, and the plural, we have the letter S, no? It's represented with this letter S. Don't forget also, yeah, remember how to pronounce this S, yeah? We talked about this topic in phonetics and phonology, no? Boys, boys, yeah? Don't forget about it. How to pronounce the S, yeah? Those boys. All right, so here we have the structure. Remember, this is the structure that we are going to use when we want to make noun phrases. Yeah? So, as a feedback, how do we make noun phrases? There are 4. Using what? What are we going to use to make up noun phrases? We mentioned 4. What are these? No? You cannot remember?
No.
Yeah, don't worry. Here I'm going to go back, yeah? So don't forget about it. Yeah, here. This is the composition of noun phrase. Remember, we are going to make up noun phrases by using proper nouns, by using personal pronouns, by using indefinite pronouns, and by using determiner plus nouns. Proper nouns, you know, no? We're talking or we're referring to particular people, places, or things. Yeah, this is a proper noun. Then we have analyzed the personal pronouns, no? I, you, we, they, he, she, it. We use them as a subject, and it's also a noun phrase. Remember that a noun phrase could be one word or a group of words. Yeah, a noun phrase doesn't mean it's phrase. Yeah, so we need to join 2 words, 3 words, 4 words. No, you can use just one word, and it's a noun phrase. Yeah, so from one word to a group of words. So we can make up noun phrases just with one word, as in the personal pronouns. No, I was. No, he was. They were. And notice I, he, she, they are noun phrases. But this noun phrase is composed by just one word. That is the personal pronoun. All right? Here in the proper nouns, we could use one or two, no? Or three, no? It depends, no? It depends on the proper noun. But in the personal pronouns, we just use one word. So don't forget, proper nouns, personal pronouns, indefinite pronouns. Remember, yeah, the indefinite pronouns, we're going to use some, any, no, every, plus one body or thing or where, no? So someone, somebody, so we are talking about people, yeah? Anyone, anybody, no one, nobody, everyone, everybody. So these are indefinite pronouns. Remember, we can start a sentence with an indefinite pronoun. Everyone agreed. All right? So you use here the indefinite as a noun phrase. Now this is a noun phrase, everyone, or someone, or no one, or everyone. No? And when we talk about things, remember, we're going to use something, anything, nothing, and everything. This is the way how we make up indefinite pronouns, no? Using some, any, no, and every. And we join them with the other part. That is one, body, if we talk about people, thing, if we talk about things, and where, if we talk about places. No, we join these two parts. No, someone, somebody, something, somewhere. Notice some with one, body, thing, or where. Any, the same. Anyone, anybody, anything, anywhere. All right, so here we're going to use this indefinite pronouns. Remember, we use this indefinite pronouns when we don't determine, we don't know exactly who we are talking about, or what we're talking about, or where we're talking about. All right, and the other one, the last one that we have talked, is the determiner plus a noun. Remember, which are the determiners? Determiners are the noun modifiers. All right, the noun modifiers, and they precede a noun. All right, their function is to express reference. Remember, reference. Now we're going to talk about, or we're going to give more detailed information about the noun. And we are going to mark nouns, right? And remember this list, yeah? Remember the list of determiners. We have possessive, ordinals, quantifiers, articles, distributives, numerals, and predeterminers, okay? And then we talked about the definite and indefinite or non-definite article, and also the pre-articles, and we finished with the demonstratives. D1, D2. ¿Ya? Be careful on the trees. ¿Ya? Tengan mucho cuidado con los arbolitos. ¿Ya? Acuérdense, cuando tengo estas palabritas, los demostrativos, siempre voy a utilizar un artículo definido. Esta palabra me está definiendo, me está especificando de quién estoy hablando. ¿Ya? Por eso cuando yo hago el arbolito, this, ese determinador va a estar compuesto de dos componentes. The article plus the demonstrative. What kind of article? Definite article. And demonstrative, D1 or D2. No, it depends on the point of reference or the place of reference, all right? So D1, this and these, and D2, that and those, all right? So don't forget about how to make, yeah? Remember how to make the noun phrases, yeah? We are talking about the noun phrases. This is one of the components in a sentence. Remember also what is a kernel sentence. The kernel sentence is the simplest, is the simplest form of a sentence. Don't confuse with a simple sentence. Yeah, so don't forget about the examples that I gave you before. Yeah, here, notice, I want to go is not a kernel sentence. It's a simple sentence, yes. It's a simple sentence, but it's not a kernel sentence because we have two ideas here, two verbs, want and go. That's why here it's not a kernel sentence, all right? A kernel sentence would be, I want, for example, no, let's imagine, I want an ice cream. You have just one idea, one verb, it's declarative, it's an active voice. But here you have two verbs, want and go. That's why it's not a kernel sentence. Remember this. Kernel sentence is the simplest form of a sentence with just one idea, one message, all right? One verb, declarative and inactive voice, okay? So, here, until here, any question? ¿Alguna preguntita hasta acá? A ver, any question, any question? Because we just finished with the slides. Any questions? No, you
Teacher,
can.
one question.
Yeah, tell me.
When I have to use the article with the word student, yes, I confuse with if I have to use a or an with the word student.
Remember, student, it starts with a consonant sound, not with a vowel sound. Student, student. Remember this. It's not with a vowel sound. You use a student.
Thank you, teacher.
Remember this. Yes, student, you start with a consonant, stop. Stop. No vowel sound. No vowel sound. So you say a student. All right. Any other question? No more questions? All is clear? ¿Quedó claro todo? ¿Sí? Clear as water? Okay, so there are no questions. I'm gonna talk to you now in Spanish because I'm gonna give you some points to consider according to the platform. ¿Ya? Vamos a pasar a ver si un ratito al español para recordarles un poquito sobre la plataforma. Algunos docentes o colegas estuvieron comentando sobre la subida de los videos, ¿no? De repente se hizo de una manera retrasada. La cuestión es que generalmente los videos se van a ir subiendo los días lunes, ¿no? Porque el administrador, yo no lo subo cuando nosotros teníamos clases presenciales, bueno, yo manejaba la plataforma, ¿no? Utilizábamos el Google Classroom. Ahora se está utilizando la plataforma virtual. Entonces, el administrador o la persona encargada del manejo de la plataforma lo sube los días lunes. Ahora, hubo una demora porque hubo un contratiempo con la subida del video a la nube. Hay veces estos videos son bien pesaditos, entonces no cargaba, entonces tuve que yo mandar de nuevo el enlace porque yo lo envié como enlace. Entonces, parece que tuvieron problemas con bajar el video y subirlos ellos a la plataforma. Entonces tuve que mandar de nuevo, ¿no? Cambiarle un poquito el formato y ya pudieron subirlo, ¿no? Pero de ahora en adelante sí se va a ir subiendo todos los videos de las clases. Acuérdense que todas las clases están siendo grabadas y se va a subir a partir del día lunes. Eso es lo que me menciona el profesor César, ¿no? Que es el encargado de los cursos, ¿no? De administrar los cursos. Pero es otra la persona que administra la plataforma. Tampoco lo hace el profesor César. Entonces ahí esa persona lo realiza el día lunes, ¿no? Entonces eso es para que tengan en cuenta, para de repente no exista ciertos inconvenientes, ¿no? Que porque si hicimos sábado porque ya no está el domingo. El lunes generalmente se va a estar colgando los videos, ¿eh? No se olviden. Ahora, también hubo algunas consultas sobre los trabajos, la entrega de los trabajos. De repente para los profesores que recién se están integrando al grupo, generalmente los trabajos yo los dejaba como un mes de plazo, ¿no? Ya los que ya han estado en los módulos anteriores ya de repente lo están manejando mejor. Yo generalmente, supongamos, como se llevaba en un día, y ahora ya lo hemos dividido en 4 semanas, en 4 días, como si lleva un día, entonces como seguíamos el siguiente mes otro módulo, casi antes de comenzar el siguiente módulo era el plazo para poder entregar el trabajo. Ahora también les estoy dejando un pequeño trabajito sobre este tema. Acuérdense, como estamos trabajando así de manera separada, vamos a ir dejando trabajitos por cada clase que tengamos. Por eso que les estoy dejando para que lo hagan hasta todo el mes, ¿no? Hasta el 26 creo que les dije, ¿no? 26, 27, a ver, déjenme un ratito ver el calendario. A ver. Sí, 26, ¿no? Ya. Entonces, hasta esa fecha tienen para poder entregar sus trabajos y para que también ustedes tengan un poco más de tiempo, ¿no? Porque hay veces estamos trabajando también, yo también trabajo en otros lugares, ustedes también están laborando y hay veces el tiempo nos queda cortísimo, ¿no? Y hacerlo de repente en una semanita va a ser pero un poco complicado. Aunque los trabajos que yo les dejo son sencillos, no son tan complicados para poder desarrollarlos, ¿ya? El trabajo que les estoy dejando ahora, ustedes revisen por favor su plataforma. Me menciona uno de sus colegas que no ha podido bajar el PDF. Voy a revisarlo bien, si no voy a coordinar con el encargado de la plataforma para que revise bien ese aspecto y ustedes puedan bajar el PDF. Acuérdense que en la plataforma están los PDFs tanto del material del manual, también van a estar las diapositivas en PDF, ¿ya? Y los trabajos generalmente van a estar en Word, para que ustedes lo completen ahí en Word, o si no, como les dije también la vez pasada, pueden imprimirlo, lo desarrollan a mano, le toman una fotito y lo suben, ¿no? Eso de repente para que tengan otra forma de poder enviar el trabajo, ¿no? Entonces, de esa manera vamos a ir desarrollando el módulo. Acuérdense que este módulo, vuelvo a recalcarles, se divide en 4. Ya no es uno solo, sino lo vamos a dividir en 4. Entonces, cada semanita vamos a ir dejando un pequeño trabajito, son cortitos, no son extensos, y que no se asusten, me van a decir, 4 tareas, son cortitas, no es mucho en lo que se les pide porque se comprende también la situación en que estamos, ¿no? Pero eso sí, también les tienen ahí lecturas, ¿ya? Son lecturas aparte del manual, porque yo les estoy dejando ahí un manual, que es lo que he explicado con las diapositivas. Pero aparte del manual, yo les estoy dejando otro material extra de lectura, donde ahí tienen más, como les dije la vez pasada, ¿no? Más información, más detallada, ¿no? Porque acá hay veces por el tiempo tenemos que hacerlo así de manera un poquito más general. En cambio ahí en ese material ya tienen más información para poder de repente ampliar, ¿no? Todo el conocimiento que se les está brindando, ustedes lo pueden ir ampliando, ¿ya? Entonces eso. Y también tienen los videitos. Ahí tienen para dar el material audiovisual, ahí tienen varios videitos también relacionados a los temas que estábamos tratando cada semana. Por cada semana ustedes van a tener ahí sus videitos. Generalmente son enlaces a YouTube, ¿no? Acuérdense que en YouTube ustedes pueden encontrar bastante información, como les venía diciendo en los anteriores módulos, ¿no? Ahorita en estos tiempos hay que aprovechar al máximo la parte tecnológica y en este caso lo que es el Internet, ¿no? Y las diversas páginas o plataformas que podemos ir utilizando para la práctica o enseñanza del idioma inglés, ¿no? O el aprendizaje del idioma inglés. Entonces, ahí tienen esos videitos, son cortos, vuelvo a recalcarles, no se vayan a asustar, me dicen, uy, un video de 15, 20, 30, no hay tiempo para verlas. Son cortitos los videos, ¿ya? Son cortitos, 5, el máximo creo que será pues 8, 9 minutitos, nada más. Se ha tratado de buscar también videos cortos, ¿no? Hay también videos más extensos, ¿no? Pero para que se adecue a su contexto, a su realidad, no sería lo más apropiado, ¿no? Debido a los trabajos que estamos realizando también nosotros, ¿ya? Entonces, eso por favor quería recalcar para que de repente los docentes o colegas que recién se están integrando sepan y tengan conocimiento, ¿no? Y siempre igual, alguna duda, ya sea, acuérdense, la parte administrativa, plataforma, de los recursos que hay en la plataforma, ya yo no lo manejo. Antes sí yo lo manejaba, porque, vuelvo a repetir, yo manejaba lo que era el Google Classroom, ¿no? Ahí sí yo hacía y deshacía con los materiales, con poner los videos y todos los enlaces o las tareas, yo manejaba todo. Pero ahora no, ahora se está llevando con la plataforma de la institución, entonces hay una persona encargada. Todo lo que es parte de recursos, de tareas, ahí que de repente no bajó un archivito, o no entra mi clave, o no puedo entrar a la plataforma, directamente con la parte de la administración. Lo que es del curso, de repente, profesor, disculpe, no entendí bien la tarea o cómo se realizaba esta tarea, ahí sí lo pueden poner en el WhatsApp, ¿no? Igual, si ustedes ya, algunos de repente están desarrollando ya los trabajitos, ¿tiene duda? Profesor, disculpe, estoy haciendo acá el primer ejercicio, pero no capté muy bien a ver cómo se podría hacer. Entonces ya yo le puedo dar algo de información. ¿Ya? Entonces, todo lo que es la parte pedagógica, por decirlo así, conmigo. Y lo que es ya la parte de la plataforma, el manejo, los recursos de la plataforma, ya es la parte administrativa, ¿ya? Ahí vamos a cambiar un poquito con lo que trabajábamos anteriormente, porque anteriormente, vuelvo a repetirles, yo sí que manejaba todo, porque yo controlaba la plataforma del Google Classroom, ¿no? Yo era el que creaba el curso, las claves y todo, ¿no? ¿Se acuerdan lo que han estado conmigo desde los módulos anteriores? Saben cómo estábamos trabajando. Estamos cambiando ahora un poquito, ¿ya? Entonces, a ver, ¿alguna última pregunta para ya ir terminando con la sesión? A ver, ¿alguien?
No, I'm just saying thank you for the class. I am the newest student in your course. I was not in the first class. This is my first class with you. But anyway, thank you very much. Next time, I would like to I would like to make interaction with you. If is that possible? I mean, I don't want to interrupt your classes, but can I ask you questions during the classes when you are explaining something?
Yes,
is that right?
yes. As I told you, oh, yes, nice to meet you, Carlos, right? Carlos, yes?
Yeah, that's my name.
Okay, Carlos, nice to meet you. Yes, but as I told you before, you can use the chat, no? I was checking some chats. I was trying to answer, yeah? Yes, you can intervene by using the chat or maybe using the icon. Remember, at the bottom you have an icon that you can raise your hand.
Oh,
so you
okay.
press
Yeah,
on this icon.
This is my first time using Zoom. I never use a Zoom, so that's
Okay,
why
yeah,
I'm
all right,
interested
okay.
to
Okay,
use
don't
this
worry,
one.
don't worry.
Anyway, this is the beginning of something that is going to help me to imagine it. Thank you. Thanks for the first one.
Okay, you're welcome, Carlos. Don't worry about it. Yes, it's, some people, it's the first time that use this kind of platform, no?
Thank you
Tanya me dice, could you add my cell phone number to the WhatsApp group? Yeah, this is not up to me. Remember, all the registration process to the platform or to the WhatsApp group, to the administrator, please. Eso sí es parte de la administración. Ahí tiene que llamar al profesor César o el encargado de la administración para que le añada el número al grupo de WhatsApp, ¿ya? Any other question? No more questions?